I have never suggested that people, no matter what their expertise is, I've never assumed that you didn't, let's say, have the right to be wrong, if that makes sense, or that you couldn't be incorrect. Everybody learns. Some people, they get it quicker than others later. I understand. But COVIDs, the frustration with that is that there's only one side that is, let's say, allowed to say something that is against what is normal and even conflicts with the truth sometimes. While one side, which is the one that has, of course, the power, the protection, the blue check mark specialists and the elites, government funding, all of those guys, when they get it disastrously wrong, there's just no consequence whatsoever. The posts don't get flagged by the media companies who are paid by way of contracts anyway by the government, so it makes sense that they wouldn't they wouldn't punish their employer. They'd never do that. But they get it wrong, and there's no consequence, be it economically, socially, anything. It's just, hey, we got it disastrously wrong, and that's okay, but you should still listen to us. I have another example of this that I'm going to show you guys, and let's listen. This is back in April. And what we're going to listen to is the director of the CDC, Dr. Rochelle Walensky. And we're going to listen to what she has to say about the vaccine, okay? I'm not even going to preface it. Let's just listen to what she has to say, and we'll see if it turned out to be fake news, if you will. Let's look at, or rather listen in.
Who have gotten their first dose, 51 million who have gotten their second dose, and we can kind of almost see the end. We're vaccinating so very fast. Our data from the CDC today suggests, that vaccinated people do not carry the virus, don't get sick, and that it's not just in the clinical trials, but it's also in real world data.
Oh, okay.
And yet, on the other side, 3 million Americans.
All right. So let's. That obviously turned out to be horseshit. Completely. CDC themselves has had to concede that was absolutely not true. Yes, they do carry the virus. Yes, they can carry the virus, and yes, they can spread it. Now, this is the director of the institution, the organization, the agency, the alphabet agency, that the weirdos on the Twitters and the TikToks and the everybody, they say we have to trust them and listen to them because that's the science. The science all rests upon what the CDC says. Now, the CDC got it wrong. I don't care what you blame, whether you blame variants, doesn't matter. They were wrong. They were incorrect. We know. And really is being under a lot of dispute. I mean, how much? When you look at these highly vaccinated areas and their cases continuing to rise, even in some places higher than what we've seen before. Either way, just because you get the jab, fully, partially, doesn't matter. You can still spread it. You can still catch it. And yeah, it's easy for us, myself, to make fun of them for getting it wrong. But that's not what this is about. It's more so about the fact that they are allowed to be wrong. No matter how, like when you look at the CDC and the alphabet agencies and the government officials, the public health experts, this entire year and a half, or over a year and a half, has been facilitated by them. Every single industry had to listen to them and their expertise, despite them being economically illiterate or just being bonehead in other, let's say, aspects, right? Just because you understand science or you understand medicine or virology or anything, just because you understand it does not mean you understand the world, right? But I guess the question then becomes, why do they get to get it wrong and have no consequence? Dr. Walensky is going to continue to maintain having her job. We know what Fauci is, not necessarily with the CDC, but we know what Fauci, how he's gotten it wrong in multiple pandemics, considering what happened back in the AIDS crisis, as well as what's happening right now, how he's able to take both positions on the same damn issue within a week's time. And when they get it wrong, what do they say? Well, the science changed. No, it's not how it works. No, you don't get to do that. I've said before. See, the truth is the truth no matter what it is that you want to accept. Right? The truth does not change like that, right? The truth does not rest upon authoritative figures, people that have some sort of power, people who have been given megaphones, microphones to be listened to. That's not how truth works. Truth does not rest upon Dr. Walensky. The truth was always the truth. Now, they may have been late in discovering it, but that's what happened. The truth does not change. So this is, of course, why, let's say, trust the science was always a dumbass slogan, because we know that they've not only gotten it wrong before, we know they've gotten it wrong with the pandemic. This one right here that we're dealing with right now, they've gotten it wrong disastrously multiple times. Multiple times they've gotten it incorrect, but they're allowed to do that, right? The dialogue is only allowed one way, right? YouTube says we must say things that are at least it's not necessarily they have to be in line with what the WHO is, that they can't be. This is what they consider medical information. They can't be against what the WHO is basically saying, or rather conflicting, right? Despite the WHO getting it wrong objectively. And they even admitted, Dr. Tedros, they wrote off early on in the pandemic that this shit was a lab leak. They wrote it off, said it was all, and there's no way that happens. Then General Tedros months ago says, well, shit, I mean, I've worked in labs. It happens sometimes. And the Chinese, or rather the Chinese government has not been working with us in trying to help us discover what actually happened and how this happened. And if it did happen, just admit it, right? Oh, wait a minute, man. That's you're turning the other way. You're telling me something that is the opposite of what you told me before. Therefore, as far as I'm concerned, that's you conceding that you got it wrong. And the problem isn't with you getting it wrong. It's that, unfortunately, you have the power in getting it wrong into disastrous results, like, I don't know, millions of people out of work. Fear mongering ended up making people freak out, making disastrous decisions, economic decisions that unfortunately impacted lots and lots of people, which is why we're having this sort of labor shortage that we have right now, right? Because you had the growing rise of the welfare statism, and all of it was in the name of health. So your results lead into disastrous results, or rather your truth led into disastrous results. It's not one thing for some YouTuber to say, have a position. And then it's another thing for these supposed authoritative figures to have the position and then get it wrong. See, here we are. I know that there's people that are out there that look at guys like myself and they say, well, because you're not advocating that people line up and get the jab, or do this and that, whatever the mainstream rather narrative is, we're the ones spreading medical misinformation. So explain to me what the fuck it was that Dr. Rochelle Walensky did. What is saying that the vaccine that everybody's lining up to take, that you're administering upon millions of people, that you specifically state that people that get it don't spread it. And then when you get that wrong, what is that? Is that not medical misinformation? That's a rhetorical question, because I know that it is. You just watched a clip from my podcast, For Canon's Sake. Catch us live at 12 p.m. throughout the week over at youtube.com/YoungRipper59 and follow us over at odyssey.com/@YoungRipper59. If you want to watch the entire video cast after the show is over, just be sure to become a member on the YouTube channel. Of course, the full audio portion of the podcast is available for free on all major digital platforms, or just visit forcanonsake.com.